relatively, I want to get as high as possible, like maybe contenders or OWL.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hmm, like right now I'm at a mm, high OD team, I
Yep.
would say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything more?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
So you want to obviously climb pretty high. You are a very highly ranked player. So before I kind of look through the VOD, we're gonna go through your Oasis match. It's a match that you guys won. You did pretty well. You also played relatively well. But
Okay.
before we start, I want to sort of ask you, what do you think are kind of the three most important categories to be good at as an Overwatch player, especially if you want to go far, if you want to be an Overwatch League player? What do you think, sort of, if we generalize, what are the three biggest and most important categories for a player to be good at?
Probably the biggest would be like game sense. Then obviously mechanics and I think to get good you need a good mindset also.
Okay, so game sense, so in-game IQ,
Yeah,
um,
kind of thing.
mechanics,
Yeah.
and positivity. Yeah, I mean that's important, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for. What's another
Oh.
thing that is very important, and sort of when you're working with a team?
Um. Yeah, like trying, like being a person that can play in a team, obviously. So like you can trust your teammates and stuff, and don't just always play
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah, I mean
That
that's kind of an intangible quality, but if we're thinking like more broadly, what can we tangibly see? Like this guy, it's very easy to see mechanics. It's obviously a little objective, or rather subjective, to look at in-game IQ, but there's something else that is kind of very easy to see. Oh, this guy has very good. What
hmm,
what could that be?
positioning. I don't know.
That's sort of part of mechanics
Yeah. Um.
and IQ, actually.
Yeah. Like being vocal or not.
Exactly,
I don't.
comms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So, because you are a highly rated player, wait, let me just rearrange that. I don't think you can see it that well on stream. Because you're a very highly rated player and you want to go far, you want to make it into contenders, you potentially want to make it into AL. I'm gonna judge you, you know, with those standards in mind.
Okay.
And I can say that the team you're in now, obviously there's different team dynamics, but these are the three aspects that you have to excel in if you want to be in contenders, if you want to be in Overwatch League. If you want to be in Overwatch League, you have to be exceptional in at least two of these categories, and at least average or above average in the third. Preferably you have to be exceptional in all three to kind of really stand out. And these are the
Okay.
main things that teams that are scouting you are going to look at. So what I could see from watching your VOD was that you had pretty good mechanics. I think you
Mm-hmm.
didn't really make that many mistakes. Your mechanics are good, which is something I would expect when you're ranked at 4.5k.
Mm-hmm.
Your in-game IQ, it was difficult for me to gauge because I think your comms really weren't that good, especially for a main support player, and these kind of go hand in hand. So it was difficult for me to gauge how good your in-game IQ was because you didn't really communicate that much. And by communicating, that's the best way to display your in-game IQ. Now,
Okay.
the dynamic in your team is that a lot of the other players are calling plans, they're picking up a lot of the slack, and you will again always be in teams where the dynamics are different. But if you can develop in all of these areas, then you will be able to blend into any team. So if you can develop your comms now, then eventually in any team you will play in the future, you will be able to kind of get in, fit in seamlessly and fill whatever gap is needed. And usually for main support players, this is very, very, very important.
Okay. Makes sense.
hmm So what I saw, just to summarize quickly, was that as far as comms go, your mid-fight calling was kind of very passive or almost non-existent, and there are a lot of little things that you should be communicating mid-fight. There's reinforcing calls. So if someone makes a play call, you are usually in the back and you can read the whole situation. You have a ton of info to work with. And you can
Okay.
reinforce those calls. You can also be part of tempo shifts. If you see openings, again, you're Lucio. Sometimes you're riding high above the whole team. You see the entire battle. You can see openings, so you can call for place and be decisive. Uh,
Okay.
and also kind of micro your teammates when needed. You can also assist in planning. You can respond to teammates' plans. All of these things will kind of see situations where you could potentially do that, but it's something you should be incorporating into your game as soon as possible, I think.
Okay.
Because what I see now, like it almost feels when I see you play, it almost feels like you're just kind of playing ranked. You're doing the ult tracking between fights, but you're not really, you're not really
Yeah. Yeah.
doing more than is required of you as an individual player, and that's what you should be doing. There are players in your team that are doing that.
Okay.
So also as far as ult tracking goes, there are a lot of situations where I feel like you are corrected in the way you're tracking, and I think one easy fix that you could do is that I see as soon as the fight ends, you press
Mm.
tab and then you kind of call out what they are gonna have, right?
Yeah.
And then someone interrupts you, know they use this and that. So I think the way you can go around that is as soon as the fight ends, you can put it out there. What did they use? And then you press tab. You wait while your teammates are feeding you information. You take that information, you add what you already know, what you already tracked, and then you communicate it back to them, right? So you skip this step where
Yeah.
you come, they correct you, then you're like, oh, okay, and then especially when you don't have a lot of time between fights, it's crucial that you don't waste any time, and I think it will help your ult tracking as well if you just start. Okay, what did they use, guys? And then you do what you're doing now. I think just adding that little bit of a step will probably help you.
Okay.
Um, and then we're also going to talk about your positioning against ultimates, because I think your positioning is generally well. You don't die much. I think in this map, in its entirety, you only died like 3 times, but the times you died was because you didn't really consider the
Grass and
risk,
stuff.
the risks you could or couldn't take based on the enemy ultimates. And again, we'll touch on that. So we'll head into the VOD, and we'll go into those examples.
Okay.
So let me see. Let me actually send you the link because you're not in it yet. All right, let me know when you've joined up.
Still loading.
A question in chat. So main support doesn't just mean main healing, right? Lucio is main support, but Mercy is also main support. Zana main support. Main support is really just kind of a role of a player. I don't want to read what FootMob just wrote, but he probably has a good explanation. If not, we'll touch it after the coaching session and kind of go a little more in depth of these definitions.
Okay.
Now you're in?
It's loaded. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I want though.
No one is even typing.
We go through main, right?
Yeah.
So again, there won't be a lot of micro things here. There's going to be a couple of things that I'm going to touch on, but again, mechanically, I think you're doing generally a pretty good job.
Right.
Okay.
And then through main. Hell yeah. I see Ryan on point. Ryan on point. Come, right.
So out of those like small micro things,
I see
when you see Reinhardt this far ahead of his team, like this
Mhm.
overextended like this, especially early on, as soon as the first fight starts, as soon like no cooldowns are expended, you should usually try to wait until the bubble is used by them, because then you can kind of dictate, and then there's a low risk of you wasting the boop. If your boop comes out at the same time as the bubble potentially, and then you might not get the boop, right?
Yep.
Does that make sense? So instead of like immediately, oh, he's out of position, let me immediately boop him.
On point. Ryan on
Because you use it here, and he doesn't get a bubble here. You just kind of miss the boop, but in general, you have the time to wait. You don't have to rush it. And then as soon as the wall comes up, then you could potentially do a peeling boop, But you just want to hold on that boop for a little bit longer so that you can read the situation. And usually when the bubble is used, then it's easier for you to make a sound decision. Because in this situation, okay, the Reiner's overextended. Let me wait a couple of seconds to just make a better judgment. if they have May, I can peel. If they just have a regular 3/3, let me see how far is the enemy team. Will I need to boop him back, or will I need to boop him into my team? So just like a small thing you can think about.
Okay.
Get me one, me one, me one.
Oh.
The wall is down.
Got me.
Main, left.
That's my bad. Regroup.
I'm frozen, I'm gonna die.
I booped the May.
Nice bubble. I might still die. Yeah, I'm going for that.
So even like the things, and again, it goes back to in-game IQ and like little calls that you could be making as a flex support, like as a main support. In this situation, your Rhino just died. You know you have no way to really retake this, right?
That's my bad. Regroup.
So this is where you should just say, okay, back, reset. You know, like
Yep.
these types of calls are essential for main supports. And instead, you kind of go in for a boop or whatever, but already you should have communicated and
Got me. Main, left.
okay, reset, back, so that you don't feed more ult charge. Because if some of your teammates kind of stick around, maybe you feed more ult charge, and then it's harder to retake in the next fight.
Okay.
I'm frozen, I'm gonna die.
I booped the May.
Nice bubble. I might still die.
Yeah, you know, you lose your mech, but maybe if you made that read and you call that out for your teammates, maybe Reyna here doesn't lose his mech, and you
They have
Alright,
nothing.
I'm gonna go in now.
Okay.
I'm gonna go in now.
and you save a little bit of time. You give him less ult charge. Same thing here. You know, this is in between fights, and you're not okay. So there's not any ult checking that you really need to do here because it's the first fight. Only 2 people died. You know, they're probably going to be at 30-40 on everything. But now you're waiting to speed boost this guy. And again, this is between fights. No one's talking about anything. This is where you just say, okay, wait, guys, wait for Reyna, and then we go.
Okay.
Right?
Alright, come right.
Wait for.
But now someone is already calling, come right, and now you say wait for Reyna, right? But you could immediately avoid this and just keep, you know, tell your team what they're supposed to do or that what you're doing, because your team cannot push up without you. You know that. But until I think Doge or someone says, okay, let's push right side, you say, oh, no, wait, I'm boosting. But that should already be clear way ahead of time.
Okay.
Yeah, and ideally he also pays attention. He understands this, but as something as a main support, if you can help your teammates avoid those mistakes, and it's really not hard because in the last 10-15 seconds you haven't really said anything. So
Yep.
Alright, come right.
Wait for Reyna. Wait for
Wait,
Reyna.
if they have May, maybe we should go left.
I'm here.
I don't know.
and now your team is sort of in a spot where they could be getting pushed 64, and I guarantee you against a good contenders team or an AL team, they will know that you're still in spawn, and when your teammates will push up, they will just come in and wipe these guys, and you guys were most likely going to get 100 to 0'd, you know. So and again, it's something that you can, everyone has to understand, that everyone should have that part of their in-game IQ, but you need to be preemptive and proactive between fights.
Okay.
Come
go
fast,
then.
come fast. Walk left.
Take
We
space.
need to be fast if we want to go before they get wall back. No, we can't even make it.
Go from top left, go from top left, go from top left.
Watch out for Boop though. Lucy's not there.
This is fine. You guys go top to neutralize the corner. Make sure that
Alright,
May can't really do much.
Recharge our shield. And then we go.
Drop is 6. There's 2 windows, they can only wall one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Right window, right
Speeding,
window.
speeding.
White window dog.
Run. Quick.
Good, very nice
What's
move.
there?
May nice one.
Sorry?
Can we get the May when he gets out?
Yeah, focus May when she gets out.
He's
May,
on lead.
May 1.
Run us
Right,
back.
right,
Run us
right,
back.
right.
Yo, one question.
Mhm.
When I boop the Ryan, they didn't use bubble. Should I still wait it, even though I see the opportunity, or should I just go for it? Wait, right?
Wait, give me one moment. I need to just fix the volume a little bit. So when you boop the Rhine, what was the question? When you boop the Rhine?
They still had the ally bubble. Should I wait it then, or should I just go for
May
the
when she gets out. May when
opportunity?
she gets out.
He's
May
on
out.
lead.
So you mean here when you're engaging, right?
Yeah.
Quick.
I think here it's completely fine to go for it because you guys are already engaging with bubbles and you're booping not just the Rhine but potentially more people, right? You're displacing more people, and that's what happens. You boop down 2 people. So even if they do bubble the Rhine, you might get someone else down because generally, I think who goes down. I mean, even if it's Zarya here and she could potentially self bubble, she doesn't want to self bubble to block your boop. She wants to bubble the Ryan, then she wants to probably step forward and bubble herself. And if you can force out their bubbles, like force them to use both bubbles at the same time, say if this wasn't, I don't know what this is. I think it's
Lucio.
Lucio, yeah. Even if it was Zarya that was here, you know, she would be booped down even if she bubbled the Reinhardt in time, you know. So in this situation, it's fine, and it's like it's not a first fight scenario. You see an opening, I think it's okay.
Okay.
Whoop
there.
But here, you know, you also know that essentially 2 players are as good as dead, right? And Mei just ice block, so she's a free kill. So for her, you really don't need to even go for a boop on her. You just wait it out because you know you have like a 3-second window to collect this free kill.
Can we get the main when you get up?
Yeah, focus me.
Because here you go for a boop. Obviously, you want to boop her into your team, but she ends up like flying there. She dies a little,
When she gets out.
a little slower, but yeah, that's a situation where you don't really need to go for a
Run his
boop.
back, run his back.
Run,
Okay.
that point left. Run,
Bubble.
push main. Run.
Something you can also start doing is calling out your boops. Like a split second before you boop, you know that you're gonna go for the boop. I'm booping and then target, and then your teammates would usually be able to react maybe half a second earlier. It's something you can do because you do get a lot of really good boops, but you never really call them. And I think if you do that, then they can be followed up on a little more. Or I'm going for a Reinhardt boop. Like you see, they use a target bubble. You know you're going to go for it. Sometimes you can even call it like a second or 2 ahead of time. And we'll see a couple of those examples. But it's also a good habit to get into comm-wise.
Someone.
Someone.
Sorry.
I've been this area in the right room.
Sorry,
Sorry,
top
one.
right side.
We got me.
You know, even these things, I think Rene, your Diva player, is doing a really good job of these mid-fight calls, which is something, again, you can incorporate because if you play on a team where the Diva player doesn't do that, it sort of, that responsibility sort of falls on you. Like these little calls, help doge, right side, like these mid-fight calls, you know? Because they're really helpful. Everyone, it's very easy for everyone to follow.
I'm pulling back towards point. I don't want to push it in.
Bubbling too.
They still have graph.
Big.
And here again, this is the first good mid-fight call that you're due.
I'm pulling back.
Actually, this is second one. The first one was no more ults.
Back towards point. I don't want to push it in.
Bubbling too.
They still have graph.
They still have grab, but this you should be keeping track of the entirety of the fight. You should know that the fight has dragged on so long. You should know they have grab, and it shouldn't only be they still have grab. That call should come out like a second earlier, and it should be they have grab split. Watch out for grab. Like it should be an order, you know, not just an info call. And then immediately everyone kind of splits up. Maybe they don't get as much value.
Graph.
Big.
And it doesn't really sound important, you know, like if you listen to your tone.
I don't want to push it in.
Yeah.
Bubbling too.
They still have graph.
Big.
Yeah, like it's super important. It's a crucial piece of information that everyone needs to act on. And then you get caught in it as well. And if Reyna doesn't eat the blizzard, you might even lose this fight.
I can't.
This is sleeping.
It's a main point.
Halo. No ice block. Run half.
You know, even this, what happens here, like with your Ana call.
They still have graph.
Big.
I can't.
Lucio, or me, Lucio, he's sleeping. Immediately as you see this, what should you be saying?
I'm gonna help you or something like that.
I'm coming. 3, 2, 1. That's it, right?
Yeah.
That's your job. You know, you did say I can't because you were stuck in grab, but that was in response to him saying Lucio on me. And that's very good. You called that you couldn't come because you were stuck in the grab. But then you turn around, you see this. Okay, I'm coming. 3, 2, 1, and then you crouch on his face and you triple headshot him, and he dies. But you do the countdown because your teammate is just going to be standing there ready for you to go whenever. And it's important that you hit the headshot, especially if this isn't a Lucio, if this is like a Sombra or a Tracer, like a character that can actually translate out or teleport out or you recall. It's very important that you hit the headshots on this target, and to do that, you need to do the countdown. Okay, I'm coming. Right? But now, this is your priority, killing this guy. But now you just turn around and look at your teammates. And he goes 3, 2, 1. And you're like, oh shit, he's gonna hit him. And now you turn around and you're scrambling. You're aiming here. You're not aiming at his head, and you're just kind of out of sync. And again, if this is a Sombra Tracer, he's out.
Yep.
And even now, like he almost escapes. Like you hit the shots afterwards, you get the good boop. It's fine. But Andy, thanks for the follow. No. So that's one of those things where responding to the information that your teammates put on the table.
Yeah.
On the right.
They still have beat. Close to mail, that's it.
No, I ate mail.
Oh, okay.
Blank.
It's only
Right.
me,
Yeah,
only me.
yeah,
Grab
yeah,
me,
yeah,
grab me,
yeah,
either.
And this is also something, especially in long and extended fights, you should be thinking about which ultimate was used first.
Yeah.
Because it will help you with your ult tracking. So if you think about it, this was a super long fight, right?
No, I ate mail.
Oh, okay.
Blank.
It's only me,
yeah,
only me.
grab
yeah,
me,
yeah,
grab me,
yeah,
either.
Rally. Can you just like rally?
Yeah, so you call it only beat, but if you think about it, what was the first ult that was used on their side in the previous fight?
I think it was trans.
Exactly. You guys grabbed, they tranced, and then Zen
Yep.
survived for the entirety of the fight, which means he should be at like 60 or
Yeah,
70, which means he will have it mid-fight. That's also very important info, because if you guys get in a situation where you're trading support ults and you know they're gonna hit an ult spike or like a trance soon, maybe you should draw up a plan where you try to win the fight before they get the trance. Your opening is smaller than it would be if his trance was on 20%.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like Shadow Rally.
So I was obviously worked with some of your teammates. I worked with Rene and I worked with Doge a little bit.
Mhm.
And do you think this is a good play considering the situation?
I don't know what ults we have.
Okay.
I think it
let's
was
take a look.
Rally. Yeah, Rally, Diva Bomb, Shatter. I think we should have not gone for it because it's pretty risky and we had a lot of ults and they just had beat and trance,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have just engaged with Rally and then go for Shatter or
Yeah.
just something with
Rally
Diva.
or force beat and then hit a shatter.
Yeah.
But your ult order, you will be able to control the pace of the fight. And that's something I told Doge when I was working with him. He goes for these way too much in situations when we don't have to. So
Mhm.
a situation where we might have to is this is the last fight. They have 6 ultimates. You only have this. You have to make a play. You have to get a kill somehow with the shatter. You have to go for a miracle play. In a situation where you have map control, you have energy advantage, you have 4 ultimates to 1, you never need to take a risk like this. Never, ever, ever.
Okay.
And it's something I told Doge, but he keeps doing it. But it's also up to you. You see this. You are in charge of the ult economy. You know what you guys have. You know what they have. You see him doing this shit. You tell him, you know, get out of here. Don't do that. No, we're gonna go with Rally. Come back, Doge. You know.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And that's kind of part of your in-game IQ, because again, you trial for a new team sometime in the future. Whoever's trialing you, whoever's scouting you is going to notice this type of stuff. Okay, he understands. No, we don't have to come back. We can just rally engage. You communicate that immediately. You show a much higher in-game IQ.
It's only, it's
Right.
only
Right.
me,
Yeah,
only me.
grab me,
grab me,
yeah,
either.
Rally. Can you just like rally? Like Shadow Rally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they used rally and grab soon.
Just get ready to speed into them. Now.
Speeding?
Hey, push.
Break.
Target. Nice.
Brick stand down.
Kite.
Kite.
Yeah. So because he goes for that play, absolutely horrendous. You go from an unlosable fight almost to a horrendous, almost game or like round throwing fight.
Yeah.
Because
Speeding?
you guys have to cover all of this distance. You guys rally anyway, so you use rally and shatter. They block the shatter because you have to recover all of this distance.
Break.
He gets counterpinned and they beat, and then you have to counterbeat to save him. So now you've used beat, you used rally, and you've used speed boost and shatter just for the beat. When you had energy, energy control, you had corner advantage, you had everything. But you just give up your corner advantage, you give up your ult advantage, you throw out 3 ults for 1 and get 0 kills. And like, this type of stuff, if you go into contenders, you're just gonna get slaughtered. So these types of mistakes you can never ever make. And again, as a main support, it's your responsibility to make sure these things don't happen, and you keep you stay in charge of these things.
Nice.
Brick stand down.
Kite.
Kite back.
What do they have here?
Nothing. Might be close on our shadow or half.
And now even more so. Now they definitely should be like at 70%
Yeah.
chance.
Nothing else.
Play right side point.
Because now there's 2 sort of long fights where no one really died, and he was alive.
We just point grab. Whenever you use someone, we got
Yes.
Fair enough.
Fuck the shield. Run anti.
Even
This is something you do well in terms of marking the enemy Lucio, so he never gets into a position where he can boop your Ryan. I think there's almost no pressure from the Lucio on your Reinhardt because you do this stuff very well.
Whenever you use someone, we
You see his
Fair
movement and you boop him away. So this is very good.
Fair enough.
Fuck the shield.
And then you control the entirety of this wall, and then he has to be scared of you, but your Reinhardt doesn't have to be scared of their Lucio. So that's very good.
Even aided,
Don't
even
get too
aided.
much. Run.
Yeah.
Run.
Speeding.
I can grab.
Again, you know, he goes for a play, you boop him out of position. Now he can't really do much from there. He's completely isolated from his team. The rest of his team doesn't have speed boost or aura or anything. Maybe you can even catch and kill him. So this is very good defensive play from you. It's something you should keep doing.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Nice. Push.
Zarya in the front on the grab. Zarya.
You know, and now the trans comes out, and again that's very important because if you grab, they will trans. It changes your plan. There's no real value for you to go in and shoot here if you know the trans is coming out, right?
Yeah.
Zarya.
I can go. We just take it to go back. Don't push.
Yeah, play the corner.
Ryan. He's going to I'm getting spammed.
Ryan,
Round one.
Very nice boop again.
You call target.
I have nano,
Close left.
Yeah. So this was very good here.
I'm
This
getting
is
spammed.
very good. You peel them off. They're rallying. They're tempo shifting into you. You boop them away. You relieve the pressure.
Round one.
What should you be calling now,
Round one.
based on the information that you have?
We should speed on the brick.
Exactly. And if you think about it, your team has just disengaged. Your Zarya is looking in this direction, and Reinhardt only sees sort of the same thing, maybe even less than the Zarya. Your Brig is looking here. Your Diva is looking here. So you are the only one who has this information that she's completely and utterly out of position, and you guys have a window of like 3 seconds when the Reinhardt is out of the fight. And this is why it's super important that you become a much more active caller in mid fights, because you're the only one who can call this, and it's important that all of your teammates are active mid-fight callers, and if in case they see this, they give the order, push Brig left side, and then immediately, as soon as your Reinhardt comes around the corner, if you're decisive, he's gonna look there. Your Brig is probably gonna look to bash here. Your Zarya is immediately gonna direct damage here, and then you can potentially catch this before she falls back. But you're the only one who can make this call in time.
You call target.
I have nano,
Instead, if in the coming 2 seconds, someone says you call targets, and whatever, and she's already fallen back here. Now you're not within bash range. Now you can't recover this distance. Now the enemy Reinhardt is coming back, so you've missed the opening.
Left. Very close left.
Alright, brick.
And now your Brig overextends, trying to catch up to the place. And now like everything's kind of out of whack.
Brick. Sorry. I got pooped off.
And now Reinhardt is back.
They run us back up. Break half HP. Break in the no.
Brig anted.
Run enter too.
Run.
Charge again. Ryan pinned. Ryan dead. Play him in point.
No.
Brick now.
Break low.
Big low. I can grab him.
Break.
I can shatter first. Shattering right side now. Lucio on the right.
Lucio.
Close speed. I'm close speed. Okay.
He's one.
Yeah, I'm going
Still
to
shielding. Okay, I'm dead. Target.
Don't use anything.
They use graph diva bomb, trans, so they have rally. It'd be.
They use running mid fight. They wanna rally yet.
Okay. So
Yeah, you see, like you start saying they use this, then immediately people are correcting you. It's better if you're not 100% sure that you just say what did they use, and then you press tab, you look at the ults, you're thinking by yourself, and you're passively taking in information from your teammates.
Okay.
Beat soon as well.
Yeah.
Really long fight. Yeah.
So
We can bomb engage. Oh, we have grab. Yeah, we can just grab him.
Yeah.
We can combo. We can just grab combo.
Come left again though.
Yeah, I go left.
Ready? Walk forward. Wait for RK. Walk now.
So the Reinhardt goes for a stun shatter, and again, these things in contenders, you will never get away with these things. You know, you guys are probably going for it because you get away with it enough, and you know, you guys don't check or communicate about this either. But I can guarantee you that any good contenders team, obviously any good team in Overwatch League, before every fight, the team that is retaking is going to be, do they have shadow? Yeah, they have shadow. Okay, watch out for hiding shadow. I don't see the Ryan. Okay, the Ryan is there. But until that point, everyone is going to be super careful around corners. The Reinhardt is going to check every single corner. That's just very, very basic for high tier contenders and OWL players. So this type of stuff you should try to avoid doing unless necessary when you guys have advantages. And also always call for it and check for it, because if you really just take a look at the fight.
What? Use us. Beat.
I grab
Nice.
Break behind.
Break is behind.
No. Nice. Going point. I'm going point. I'm touching.
You know, so you guys beat it, rallied, comboed for Shatter. So this was a situation where it's good. Like they don't really have any ults. It kind of makes sense for them to make this play because they need to shatter to just force out ults. And again, Shatter for 4 ults, very very good fight for them. Your opponents did their job. They don't need to do anything else. And but the situation was completely reversed when you guys went for it. And that situation, you guys were 4-1. You guys had a 4-1 ult advantage, right?
Yeah.
New Jenner 28. Thanks for the follow. So yeah, it just depends on the situation, that how desperate you are.
I grass.
And he does force a scrappy fight. Like you guys beat rally, you guys grab. They don't support ult, and I think you guys called that they wouldn't have support ults yet, or no, you called it they might have beat. But then the Lucio died, and then you guys still bomb it when you really don't need to bomb it. Like this is a free kill, or like a free fight. So you guys wait too much, and now you don't have anything for next fight.
Sorry, behind us.
Sorry. Nice. Greg. Nice.
Okay, they still have another fight.
They
Yeah.
use Shatter. Anything else?
No.
No.
They probably close to chance. No, yeah, close
they
to beat.
have
Yeah, close to beat. Might be close to rally too.
Close already as well. Okay, we can build. Let's just make it hard to push the corner so we can get a kill off the corner.
Yeah. So here you guys know that you're at a huge
Think they're going right.
disadvantage, and you again, that they have a huge ult spike here, right?
Right side.
They have support ults as well.
Just focus what comes.
Ryan.
Hold on. Run.
Right.
I think they're going right side.
Again,
Just focus.
you're winning all of these fights. Again, you boop the Lucio out of position. He doesn't get to control the airspace. You do. So very very good.
Okay.
It's much harder for them to take space. Like now he's there, and you can do whatever you want. So this was very good.
Ryan
Hold on.
Discord.
Run.
half.
Nice stun.
No,
Bubble is out. You go for the boop. Wait, let's take a look at this.
Ryan
Hold
Discord.
on.
Ryan half.
Nice stun.
No,
Boop the right, boop the right.
But here now you have to just be. Now you guys did what you needed. You got a kill and you forced out the trance. So as soon as you see the trance coming out, what do you need to do?
Speed back.
Exactly, like you tempo shift and go back, especially like you say, since you have speed. You're not gonna be getting any kills here. You're just gonna fall back. They're gonna overreach, trying to get value out of their trance, and then you can re-engage. As long as your team fall back sort of around this area, and then you still control the high ground here, then they overreach. You can boop them in again, and you just win with superior tempo and good corner play. Martyr than the average bear, thanks to the follow. But yeah, but you just kind of go in, try to shoot at
Sorry.
them, and then because of that you die, and you really shouldn't be dying here.
Sorry.
And not only because of the trance,
Nice stun.
but also because when you go for these aggressive boops, if you overstay like too far in front of shield, you will eventually become the focus target. Eventually the Discord is gonna go on you, and D.Va is gonna hunt you, especially against good teams. They're very, very good at punching this. If Zen sees you overextended, maybe he can't Discord anyone else. He's gonna Discord you. He's gonna hit one shot. He's gonna call that, and then the D.Va's gonna immediately fly at you. So something you have to be very careful. Immediately after this boop, boom, back, all riding all the way back here. Even more so when you see D.Va's already here, and the trance is going.
Sorry. Sorry.
I'm killing Zen. I'll get this in.
There's a D on point. Deal with.
Not sure. Okay.
Nice dodge. Dude, I'm recording. I hope you know that.
Go left side.
Left side.
Left. Okay.
Okay, so half your team doesn't know what left is.
Yeah.
But this is also very important. And again, like this is your responsibility. Okay, everyone left. Like you just had 15 seconds where you didn't say anything. You guys are just sort of talking shit in comms instead of, okay, we're gonna go this is how we're gonna path, this is what we're gonna do. Repeat that, remind your teammates, be sure everyone's on the same page, make sure you guys get value, because even this little thing that happens in the beginning, it affects your first fight.
Left. Yeah.
And now again, these guys don't know that these guys aren't following them yet. These guys over here don't know, like, they're not paying attention. Clearly, they've zoned out. You're the only one with the information that, wait, guys, you're splitting. So here you
Yep.
need to step out. No, guys, no, left. Or never mind, they went right. You guys come right side so that everyone gets the speed R. Otherwise, you're slow to the first corner. You're slow to the first fight, right?
Yep.
What point, I mean.
You know.
Oh well.
So
We'll get
you have that information. You have to tell them. Obviously, they have to listen, but yeah, because this is what happens. Now you have to move over to this side to give them aura so that they get there faster, and you lose out in positioning.
I see
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you want it.
Ryan. Then go single.
Oops.
Wait.
Yeah, like Lucio's already beaten you to this position because
Yeah.
of that mishap.
I'm on the D.Va on top.
We just farm
And now you get booped down. Now they're controlling the airspace above you guys. And again, against a good team, just that, as long as sort of the bubble fight is even, just winning that high ground fight for their D.Va and their Lucio is going to give you the advantage, and you can fall apart. So very important.
Please push.
These little mistakes matter.
Okay, we can push.
Yeah.
Run,
Spitting in.
no ally, run.
Break.
Kite back and stay west. Nice.
Break.
Okay, we can push. Run.
Yeah. And you guys aren't really in sync, you know. And now you spent that time. You just got here. Your team is already pushing, so you're trying to kind of catch up to the play.
No ally, run.
So you use
Spitting in,
speed here.
Break.
You guys just aren't really that in sync because of how the fight started.
Kite
Yeah.
back and stay west. Nice. Keep going. Okay,
Ryan,
Ryan. Now pressure Ryan. Melt
Come go. Boost.
You're too far away. Kite back again.
Give us one.
No, it's fine though. You're holding the high ground.
We should just spam the right.
Wait, what is this guy doing?
I literally don't know.
What is this guy doing? Why is he there? How did he end up there?
I don't know.
I'm
coming.
Okay, that's like a giga int.
Corner, hold the corner
Yeah.
for point. No, they're coming back.
You are one.
Hold here, just spam.
You know, and even like you haven't in this whole fight, mid fight, you haven't said anything. You haven't really. Actually, you did. That's not right. You said that you're speeding when you were up top. That's pretty much it. But there's really no communication between you or D.Va to like set up plays ever really. Even stuff like now you're heal boosting. You're not really calling that you're heal boosting. It's also important info, especially maybe not in this situation because everyone's already grouped. You have the aura on pretty much everyone. But there will be situations where mid-fight you call, I'm boosting on our Rhine, and then maybe your D.Va is here, your Rhine is here, and then your D.Va's gonna shift in because she's low and she needs heals. You know, like these little mid-fight communications are so important.
Spam. I'm gonna
Okay.
shout.
Shoot
We
is
can
low,
rally.
wait,
We can
shoot
rally.
is
We can
on,
video.
shoot is
I think we should video.
Keep spamming shit.
Rally.
Okay, break on me. Shout. Rally.
On,
We can
shoot
video.
is
I think we should video.
No, they're coming back.
You are one.
Hold here, just spam. I'm gonna shout.
Shoot
We
is
can
low,
rally.
wait,
We can
shoot is
rally.
on,
We can
shoot
video.
is
I think we should video.
Keep spamming shit.
Rally.
Okay, break on me. Shouting. Reset.
Keep spamming shit.
Rally.
Hold here, just spam. I'm gonna shout.
Shoot
We
is
can
low,
rally.
wait,
We can
shoot is
rally.
on,
We can
shoot
video.
is
I think we should video.
Keep spamming shit.
Rally.
Right.
Spam. I'm gonna shout.
Shoot
We
is
can
low,
rally.
wait.
So he says, I'm gonna have shatter, and again, that's something you can respond to it. You get okay. I can look for a boop. You know, that's something you should feed back to him. Okay, tell me when we'll go for it. I can look for a boop. Okay. I'm gonna go now, and then everything's more set up because now your Ryan makes a good play, but you contribute nothing to this fight.
We can rally. We can
Okay.
video. I think we should video.
Keep spamming shit.
Rally.
And someone says, I think we should commit here. So if I hear we should commit here, what is that call? What is that call? You know, how do you interpret that call?
I should go speed, but I don't have amp. Otherwise, I would have amp there.
Okay, so my point is just he says I think we should commit here. That
Oh,
is an opinion. That is not a call.
We should say like go in.
Yeah. So if he says I think we should commit here, maybe and nothing else is said after that, maybe two players will think that it's just his opinion, that it's not decided yet what we're gonna do, and maybe two other people are gonna think that okay, that's an order, that's what we're doing. But you're leaving that up to the interpretation of four other people. And again, this is where you can reinforce calls. Okay, we can commit. And then he says, I'm almost spam shield, I'm close to shatter. Okay, I can look for a boop. You know, those are the two things you can add here that makes this fight a little cleaner and helps everyone. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Rally.
Okay, break on me.
But now, you know, everyone's pushing up, and you're kind of out of position, not really doing anything. You know, if you know the rally's coming out, you can afford to be a little more aggressive. You can be, you know, looking for a boop. You can be at least looking to boop this guy away because he's looking to boop your Ryan. So now there's the potential of a situation where your Reinhardt ends up over here and you're still here because you didn't protect him through this because you weren't ready to tempo shift. So
Shouting. We're in. Break.
Big one.
No.
unfortunately, your Reinhardt hits a big shatter and you guys win anyway. But
Daria.
Zarya.
Capping.
Okay, they have grab
US
diva.
side.
They have
US
grab
side.
diva bomb. Probably shatter to trans
side.
and Rally.
We can grab first.
Same as me on B.
Yeah, grab pin.
Yeah, we can
We
go-
have
grab pin,
bomb
grab pin.
for their.
yeah, you know, like your ult checking takes again a very long time here because you're like, this. Instead of like communicating your thought process, again, you just ask, what did they use? You press tab, you listen, and then you add the information that you have on the table as well. They will sometimes just reinforce the information you already have, but sometimes they will add something that, you know, they used rally. Okay, I didn't notice that. Okay, thank you. I wasn't like you weren't there maybe, and they can add that.
Okay.
And it makes this process a lot faster.
Zarya.
Then the plan can start coming out faster, and you're
Okay,
a
they
lot
have
more
grab
efficient.
efficient.
diva.
US
They have
US
grab
still.
diva bomb. Probably shatter to trans
side.
and Rally.
We can grab first.
Same as me on B.
Yeah, grab pin.
Yeah, we can
have
grab pin,
bomb for their growth.
I bomb for their
We
grab.
can get
I'm playing
transport.
at the back.
Yeah.
Play close. Come here.
Yes, sir.
Wait, let's see.
Growth.
I bomb.
We can grab first.
Same as me on B.
Yeah, grab pin.
Yeah, we can
have
grab pin,
bomb for their growth.
I bomb for their
We
grab.
can get
I'm playing at the back.
Yeah.
Play close. Come here.
Yes, sir.
So someone who has learned a lot from our session, this guy.
Really? Yeah.
Both in terms of planning and calls, the planning is okay. He also says, okay, I'm gonna play further back so that in case you guys get grabbed, I can bomb it while being safe. I don't have to be caught inside the grab. He communicates all the right things. So very good.
Okay.
I'm happy with this guy.
I'm gonna
I'll bait
tell him.
them.
Yeah.
So you can talk to them.
They're
I'll
going
bait
right, so
bait them in the users.
You're controlling the right corners. You know that you guys are gonna play around this, so there's no real need for you to play here because if they come out, they discord you, they can push you away. Instead, you choose a wall where you will still be able to affect the fight on this corner, and you still have cover. So again, good positioning, good mechanics. You know, you have a choice to go like this. You have a lot of choices from this position. So this
Are we
is good.
close?
Yeah, they're
Not yet.
coming.
Yeah, they're coming.
No.
Okay.
Speeding in.
Right.
So,
Wait.
for their
We
grab.
can get
I'm playing.
Same as me. Shatter to.
Diva.
Okay, they have grab
US
diva.
side.
They have
US
grab
still.
diva bomb. Probably shatter to trans
side.
and Rally.
Okay, so you call that they have trans.
Going right, so
Mm.
Yeah, they're coming.
No.
So if you guys have a grab and they have a trans, what's gonna happen?
We might not kill them.
Yeah, but usually, like, what are you guys doing? You guys are grabbing first. Trans comes out, and then what is the next step?
Like Ryan charges in, or what do you mean?
Mm-hmm. Ryan goes for a pin kill, presumably on a Brig or a Reinhardt.
Yep.
So what do you need to do when those ultimates are online? And that's going to be almost all of the time. That's going to be the first ult trait, your grab for their trans. You guys look for a pin. What do you need to do? What do you need to think about?
But the bricks are actually like the bubbles, maybe.
No, in terms of what do you have to do, personally?
Speed the Ryan so you can like it's faster charging.
Not necessarily what I'm looking for.
I don't know.
You just need to focus on surviving. You have no influence on this play, really.
Yeah.
Unless, again, like you say, your Reinhardt is over here and you need to speed him or whatever, but you shouldn't be in a position where he's too reliant on your speeder. And even if you speed him, you need to prioritize your own survival because beyond that, you have no impact on this play. You going in and shooting into this trance brings nothing to the fight because you can't really get a kill. You're not really going to be looking to cut the trance. You're not looking to grab and then shield off the trance or bubble the trance, and you're gonna go in for a kill. And even if you guys are doing that, it's not your job to go inside the graph and follow up with damage. Your damage is negligible. What it does is it puts you, if you do that, it puts you out of position completely. Especially if you consider the situation you just called before the fight. They have like 5 ultimates. So even if it's a best case scenario for you guys, you grab, they trance, you pin the brig, you're 6 versus 5.
Yep.
They still have shatter, they still have bomb, they still have grab. Those are 3 ultimates that you need to be scared of.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
Spitting in.
But as soon as you do this, this does absolutely nothing except for putting you, extremely out of position. So you accomplish exactly what you needed in terms of killing the brig. And now you should still be further back, ready for their attack. And you guys, I think, still have trance here. Maybe I'm not sure. But regardless, you just want to survive so that you can use this ultimate as well. Your life, the more ult charge you have, the more viable, the more important you are to your team, and the more value your life has. And again, in this play, in this situation, there's nothing that you can accomplish this. But now you pull, because of this position, you actually get the Zarya bubble, so your Reinhardt doesn't get a Zarya bubble. And now you're in a position, like I say, you see how out of position you are? They can shatter you and kill you. They can solo grab you and kill you. And even if you have trance, if you get solo grabbed in this position, your Zen can't catch up. So you would end up in a situation where they grab you, they kill you, and you waste trance trying to save because of your mistake. Or maybe your Zen doesn't trance, but either way, by doing this, you put him in a position where it's a very hard decision for him to make, because he knows that he has to save you because you're close to beat. You're not only losing a Lucio, you're losing the beat essentially too. So this risky error just kind of put you in a weird spot. And again, this might be an okay play if they only have trance, they have no more ults. You guys are also rallying, and you know that your team is going to continue to keep pushing. But in this situation, that's just not the case. And now you have no idea where the Diva bomb is. You're like, oh shit, Diva bomb is coming out. I need to hide.
I'm on point, so I need to...
Oh, you get shattered. You have no idea where the Reinhardt is because you're out of position. You're just focused on getting back in position.
You get the Run.
Because of that, you lose the fight. Even though you played the initial part of the fight, your team plays the initial part of the fight very well. And this is like one of your 3 deaths, but I think this is what happened a couple of times. This is what happened in the previous stage as well, where you guys grab, they trance, and you still dive into the grab to follow up with damage, where, again, that's not really... You accomplish nothing.
Okay, Diva top. I tried to get ult charge with it, but I guess it's not worth it.
Yeah, there are times when it might be worth it, but again, in a situation like this, it's just way too risky. You put yourself so far out of position, and you're also on the ground. You're not above them. It's even a university advantage. The university situation, it's a little easier to get away with it, because even when you're above the grab and shooting them, you're on that little ledge from which you can immediately go on the high ground. Whereas here, it's a lot harder. You have to jump up a couple of times to get back into your position. You have to get a little more momentum. You're not starting on a high ground position. So it's fine to shoot into it for ult charge, as long as you don't completely compromise your position and put yourself in a position where you can't get out of it quickly.
Flying up to Diva.
You can even. Diva 1 to make.
Lever and .png, thanks for the follow. So what could you be doing now?
You can even. Diva 1 to make.
Saying that me and Zara are not here, or not in the fight.
What else?
That I'm coming back with beat, maybe.
Yeah, also good, very good information. What else?
I actually don't know. Like, I think for ult tracking, it's a bit early.
Yeah, you're right. It's too early. You don't need to ult track here. Definitely not. The fight isn't over. You could also be calling numbers.
Oh yeah.
Because now, okay, so you killed the brig. Two of you guys died.
Ryan is
So
got.
like up 1, up 2 or something like that.
Yeah. So now you know you started the fight with a brick kill. Two of you died. Now there's nothing for you to pay attention to, so you can just watch whatever your Reinhardt sees or whoever you're spectating,
Sure.
and pay attention to the kill feed. So now you know 4 versus 4. And that information is just important because your teammates will be able to make a better decision. Maybe your Zarya is just confused, like she's so focused on her name, she doesn't see the kill feed, she doesn't know what the situation is. Maybe the situation is 2 versus 4 and she wastes a grab, and then that throws the game. But you can again help your teammates.
Okay, do you want top? Do you want top?
So yeah, so if I'm you here,
Flying up to Diva.
actually here you did call kill Diva up top, right?
Ryan is got.
Okay, do you want top? Do you want top?
Flying up to Diva.
So you did a call while you were dead, which is good. But yeah, like now if I'm you here, 4 versus 4.
Diva 1 to make.
Me and Zarya are back in 2.
They buffed Lucio. No,
I'm gonna be back with B.
They're gonna grab.
You can play slow our side. That's what I would have potentially called if I'm the Lucio here.
Okay.
Does this make sense? Like those calls, how they could
Yeah.
help the team? Yeah. So that's sort of the order I would have called. I would have made sure that I don't kind of you don't want to clutter the comms, so you only want to intercept when there's a little room to say something, and you want to be very, very succinct because you don't want to start blabbing around when they're in the middle of a brawl or a fight and you guys are making mid-fight calls.
Okay.
So yeah, but those are the little calls and the order in which I would have done them if I was in the situation.
Okay.
I've beat for graph. I've beat for graph.
Good. This is good. I have beat for grab. You know, now you feed information. So you do a couple of these calls, but there's also a big window where you miss it. So you I think you do understand the importance of them. You just don't do them quite as consistently.
Yeah.
We can bomb beat it. Like, I'm gonna.
What else should you be doing now?
Saying that Diva's top.
Something else about yourself.
Grab.
Okay.
I've beat for
Yeah,
graph.
you
I've beat for
bomb
graph.
Good information. What else?
That I don't have speed yet.
Yeah.
So we can't really go in with the rally.
Yeah. So how do you call that?
Wait till I have speed or something like that. And then I call down like 3, 2, 1.
No. What is an even more efficient way to communicate exactly that?
Don't go in.
No. If you just say 3 words and you will. And if you say there's 3 words that you can say, and all of the things you just mentioned, all of that is understood within those 3 words.
No speed. Wait or something like that.
No. Speed in 4.
Or that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you say speed in 4.
Yeah.
You know obviously it means you don't have speed. Everyone will already understand that. It means that in the next 4 seconds we will be able to make a play with it. So maybe someone will say, okay, we go in with next speed. You know, someone will be able to make that call because not only do they know that you don't have speed now, but they also know when it will be back up, right?
Yep.
So you are already getting ahead. You already know, okay, we're gonna tempo shift in the next 4 seconds. And yeah, so it's a very efficient way to just, you know, kind of call everything you just tried to say, or that you felt was important to let your team know.
Graph. Okay.
We can bomb beat it. Like, I'm gonna shout it. In
I have speed now.
Yeah, I'm charging my shield. It's broken.
We have really advantage.
Alright, we
Push,
go
everyone
for it
safe.
now. Spam mine.
And you guys end up missing a little bit of an opening because you guys killed Ryan. So at this point, you guys regrouped, and then Reinhardt was still coming back. So you guys could have definitely, you know, sort of started moving in and potentially speeded over them.
We can bomb beat it.
Okay.
Like, I'm gonna shout it. In
We can push. We can push.
Yeah, I'm charging my shield. It's broken.
But now you guys start moving up when your main tank is calling that he's going to recharge his shield, and now their Reinhardt is already back. So you guys are putting yourselves in a situation where, you know, they have a lot of cover. You can't really go and play the corner because they're already controlling it, and your shield is low to start this trade because your Reinhardt said that he's going to recharge his shield. So like now you've sort of missed the opening to really go that aggressive, really, and fight there. So you could potentially just be playing the pillar.
Push, everyone safe. Okay.
Spam mine. We have
You know, because you guys don't really have any off angles or anything.
No.
You guys, I mean, yeah, your diva did control the high ground. She drew Discord, and minimize the damage she took. Again, very, very good job by your diva. Exactly what you should be doing. That lets your Reinhardt off the hook a little bit because of this, so he can afford to let his shield down, which he wouldn't be able to do if your diva wasn't holding that position.
No. I can look for Shadow when I'm...
Ryan Discord.
Bombing. Beating.
Ryan.
Ryan Discord.
Bombing. Beating.
Ryan.
I'm not
Okay,
doing
they
it.
defend.
So again, here Rene obviously gets caught in the grab, but he understands. As soon as we get grabbed, this is the counterplay. I'm gonna diva bomb it, and it means the enemy Reinhardt can't pin, and then immediately you guys get value. So that was a good job.
Yeah. Bombing. Beating.
Ryan.
I'm not
Okay,
doing
they
it.
He's double
go.
defensive. He's double defensive.
Ryan.
Ryan,
Go on left.
Ryan,
Go on left. Sorry.
Go on.
Break. Sorry, close.
Sorry.
It is ours.
Sorry.
Send.
Send.
Diva outside and curse.
Yeah.
SFX speed Cocoon mech.
What?
Speed break back.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so someone tells you to speed the brick back.
Yeah.
But it should be your job, obviously, to already know that. If you don't notice it and don't think about it, it should be your brig's job to say speed me back. And lastly, it should be someone else's job to call it if neither of you, either the person who needs the taxi or the taxi man himself. That's the only time when they should be calling it. And it really feels to me like, again, you at this moment.
Sorry, close.
Sorry.
It is ours.
Sorry.
Fight is over and you zone out and you don't say anything for like 5 seconds. Immediately now, what do you have to say now?
The ults they have, and that I'm gonna go speed it.
No, but what's say you don't even notice that, you don't think about this. You say you don't think about speeding back, but what's the first? How do you communicate? What's the first thing that comes out of your mouth?
Ult tracking.
Yeah, but how do you start it?
I ask what they have.
Exactly. So because if you were listening mid-fight, Reina was calling, they double supported. So in this situation, because that was so recent, you probably still remember. If I was Lucio, I'd go, okay, they use double support. What else?
Yep.
And then you press tab and you start your thinking.
Okay. Send.
Done.
And then while you're doing this, you're already
outside
thinking.
and curse.
SFX speed Cocoon mech.
What?
But it's everything just starts so late. You say what? Now you press tab, presumably like thinking about what they used, and everything just starts a little too late.
Okay.
Astra and great, and thanks to the follows.
Oh yeah.
We should all be back then.
They use
All
double
back then,
defensive. They use.
They have shatter.
You know, and how because that you didn't start that conversation, your teammates are already sort of ult tracking, and then you're talking over them, they're talking over you. And when you do that, then it's very difficult for everyone to get on the same page. Someone is gonna miss something.
Okay.
Our side of
Oh yeah.
We should all be back then.
They use
All
double
back then,
defensive. They use.
But by saying what did they use, you put yourself in a situation you don't have to say anything else. You just absorb the information, you package it up, and then you represent. You sort of provide the summary to your team. But when you go, they used, and then they start talking over you, and then you're like, oh fuck, I was thinking about something else. What did he just say? And it's just harder. It's much easier to talk and then listen, and that's how you should kind of get into that
They
habit.
have shatter.
play our side of point.
They have
play our
shuffle
side of
them
And Diva will probably
Use
again.
Shadow.
You know, there's no way anyone's hearing that. Oh, Diva bomb probably or whatever, because half the team is already talking which side of the point you're gonna play, and it's just chaotic.
Oh, they use.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just rally Diva. They might bomb
Yeah.
engage you. If they bomb engage, we can aggro trans.
But ultimately, again, Rene communicates the plan well. He communicates the plan against the Diva bomb. Again, because this is something you guys had a ton of issues with in the first VODs that I watched, was you guys had no plans against Diva bombs, and now it seems like you guys are at least improving in the macro side of things. Then Rene calls, if they Diva bomb, we can trans engage. Again, at least everyone's on the same page. You guys have a plan. It's just everything has to happen a little bit faster.
Okay. Use rally if you get it.
They don't have bomb. They don't have bomb.
Push left side, left side.
Play left side with dodge.
They're coming right side. They're coming right side. I'm
I'm
shouting.
shielding you. I'm gonna.
Very good peel, good boop. Your Reinhardt, I mean, your Zen probably didn't have to trans because your Reinhardt reacted quickly and your boop was very, very good.
Counter-charging. Okay, push
Speeding
forward.
in?
Right.
So it's a shame that you guys they trade Shatter for Trance, and that's obviously really bad for you
Right,
guys.
right, no.
But you react really quickly.
Bring done.
Just keep spamming, keep spamming.
But then again, if you realized that you have to tax a little earlier, you would have probably already been on the high ground, right? Because you would have been back faster, and none of this would have happened. They don't get to trade these things because you're just more efficient with your time and you're thinking.
Right now,
You're thinking in the right way.
You're fine.
Run
break low.
Round one.
Sorry. They've grabbed you.
Okay, what am I not happy about with in this sequence?
Right now,
I'm pinned in the bomb.
You're fine.
Run into.
break low.
Round one. Either that I don't go on the Rhine, and that probably I missed the headshots on the Lucio.
No, I don't care if you hit the headshot or not. I don't really, I don't care about that at all.
Then probably that I don't go on the Rhine.
No, from a communication standpoint, what now in this frame, what do you need to start saying?
Speeding in 2?
No, that's it's a good call to make, but in this situation right now, that's not the most important thing.
Maybe that the Lucius behind.
Everyone, turn on Lucio behind.
Yeah.
Boom. These guys turn around, free kill, right?
Yeah.
Instead, everyone's chasing there, and you're not chasing. You're shooting this target. So not only are you not listening to what your teammates are calling, you see a target you can kill much easier and faster than the Reinhardt. It's a target that you know you can follow up on, and that you know. Let's see.
You're fine.
Run into.
Break low.
Round one.
It's a target you know that at least 4 people are ready to follow up on. Whereas on the Reinhardt, you guys have to go around the corner to follow up on him. So you have this information and you don't use it. You know that this is the right call. You know that you can't catch up to this fast enough, and you know that this is a free kill and he can't move for a second. He's on the ground.
Sorry.
Turn on the Lucio behind, and that's it. And it can't be, because this is something you don't do either. You don't ever shift your tone. Your tone is always a little bit like this. So even if you have something important to say, it sounds like this. So if your teammates are calling in the tone that they're doing now,
Break low.
Round one.
run. No one's gonna hear you saying Lucio behind if you say it in this tone.
Yep.
Actually, you do raise your tone a little bit here.
You're fine.
Break low.
Round one.
Yeah, you can actually hear your voice. You go a little higher in terms of saying Ryan 1, so that was good. But yeah, just change it to this call.
Okay. Sorry. They've grabbed you.
Push Diva.
The Zen on point. Can we get a Zen?
Diva again.
And again, you're just kind of roaming around, but you're not reinforcing. And these chaotic fights, you have to either try to reinforce someone's call, or you have to just make a call on your own. So here you can obviously make a call on your own, but after that, just reinforce one of the calls.
Sorry.
Because you can move around the map a lot faster. You usually have a lot more information to work with because you're playing higher or you're playing behind your team. So you can help them make the right reads.
Push Diva.
So now you see that Diva, you guys won't really be able to kill. So either you reinforce his call. Okay, kill the Diva, and then you stay here and wait, or you say no, push Zen on the point. You know, another situation where you can call a different target, a discorded Zen that you can easily catch. You obviously have speed boost going. You guys can catch him very easily.
Zen on point.
Instead, Reina says Zen on point, which is again an info call. It's not an order. You interpret that as, okay, let's go for Zen. Maybe someone else does too. Maybe a third person goes up top for the Diva, because that was the target call before this. So again, it needs to be orders.
Can we get a Zen?
Diva.
You know, Diva. 2 people here, 2 people over there, the 2 of you here. And now obviously you guys have like you guys already killed 3 people, so this doesn't matter. But this type of indecisiveness and this type of mid-fight calling, where you're not giving each other orders or you're not reinforcing calls, it's gonna lead consistently to splits like this, like 2-2 splits or 4-2 splits. And then if you only have one kill, or even if it's a 4 versus 2, if you split like that, you give them an opening to potentially clutch the fight, which you never want to do. You should always try to close the fight, so you can easily do that through mid fight calling. And again, it falls on you to help with that.
Okay.
D.Va again.
Lucio.
D.Va's not a chance. D.Va's not a chance.
I'm on the Zen on point. Then D.Va.
Zen D.Va.
Nice.
Probably because it doesn't take that much to farm it.
And two, they have shatter. Let's not just stand out in the open. Don't jump.
Okay, if they have flows, let's rotate back and go inside and then touch the point from there so our supports are combo and not in the open.
What? What was that? I didn't understand.
He said if they have floats, we should go back inside and go from the stairs or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Many words, understood.
Yeah, I'm confused like Doge. I think that was Doge. Many words.
D.Va, Lucio.
They're playing
Run,
inside
no.
Never wrong. Okay.
Ryan goes. Got them.
So what could you be doing as well? You know, you see Ryan here. What could you be doing?
Boop him down.
And what can improve? What can you say in comps that would improve your chances of getting a good boop?
Help. Ask Rene for help.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
He goes first.
Yep.
Then I.
Exactly, 100%. You communicate with them. They're going top. Rainy, do you want to go for a double boop? Yeah. Okay, I'm going now. And then you start moving here, and then he flies up. He draws the aggro. You get a boop from a different angle, and then you guys can easily kill.
No.
Never wrong. Okay.
Whoops. And it's just important that you guys sync up with that.
Never wrong.
Yep.
Ryan goes.
Because now he goes, and you're just not really doing anything.
Yes, job.
Now you start. You missed this jump, but it seems like you wanted to start going up top, and you get discorded.
Yeah.
So and Rainy is already out of the fight. So because you're instead of going together and trying to whoop them down, because you guys are doing it one by one. If you actually don't miss this jump, I don't know if it was intentional or not. Maybe you said, okay, they're there. I can't really go for it. Maybe you made that read. But if it wasn't intentional and you like landed the jump there, maybe it would have been an opening for them to potentially kill you. You know, so. Also super risky.
Yeah.
Boom. Now is the opening. As soon as he drops like this and he's on his own and your speed is up, this is when you guys rush him. This is the time when you can potentially jump here, and boop him out as well. Especially since you know they've just used bubble. So this is the opening. As soon as he drops.
I was scared of the discard.
Yeah, that's true. It does worry you a little bit, but this is where you can potentially push the Rhine. And as soon as everyone starts pushing, the Discord is going to go on someone else. And because now you know no one really has LOS on you, so you're right. You should be a little scared of the Discord, but at the same time, this is your opening. This is where you need to make the play call.
Okay.
But you step back a little bit, and your team gets ahead of you. But you should already be here, and then maybe you can sneak in, because you don't want to go past this point. If they fall back here, that's fine. You don't want to push in there.
Pressure.
So go, you get bashed here, you die, and you guys lose the first fight.
Don't go through.
Don't know bubble.
Hold the corner. Wait there.
Yeah, they need to.
Just play under the
Ryan,
main.
Ryan again.
Get ready to go on Evergrowth.
Boop the Ryan. Spitting in.
Yeah, you potentially could also be talking with Reyna here,
Yeah.
because now they don't check you. But again, at the highest level, this is what teams do. Anytime they come around a corner like that from high ground, think root second point retakes on defense, maps like that. Very, very standard pre-fight comm at the higher levels to just say, watch out for Lucio boop. And what happens, the D.Va peeks out first, maybe she boops you away, maybe they look for a Discord and blow you up if you're too far out of position, but it's something that every team will expect. Like going out here, everyone understands that. What do we have to worry about? We don't have to worry about the Ryan. They can't really push us here. The only thing we have to worry about is boops. So if Reinhardt shields this and he's ready, and that was part of their pre-fight communication, boom, you get bashed and killed.
Yeah.
right? But if Rainy flies up like this, and maybe at the same time as you, then not that big of a risk.
Boop the Ryan, boop the
Ryan,
Ryan.
Ryan,
Split
Ryan,
against.
Ryan.
And this was very good. Now you guys pounce on the Ryan as soon as he drops, which you didn't the first time around. It took like a second too long to react to that, or at least for you to kind of help your team to follow up on that. But now you guys react immediately, and you guys just destroy him. It's very good.
Break inside behind you, Spacer.
Do you guys on me? Do you guys on me from high ground?
Yeah, I'm with him, with him.
I'm shielding you, I'm shielding from
Sorry.
Zarya.
Not sure.
I'm setting up high ground.
They closer rally probably to half the combo. Closer
We
chance.
rally and then grab.
No.
Yeah, we rally and grab if you need it. I think we can just win the rally. We just focus those line. They don't have much there.
No have to kill us, but they're coming main. They're going inside.
D.Va's main.
Main.
Ryan's main, Sam main, yeah.
I grab.
Okay, we have life for grab here.
You just grab pin.
Right here.
You can rally.
Yeah, I'm. They're going back. Don't take it away.
No ally.
They're Ryan.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Run.
Okay.
They're going back.
What did you do wrong?
Wait, can I see the fight again?
Come back. Don't take it away.
No ally.
They're Ryan.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I booped our Ryan, or no, their Ryan into our
They're going
Ryan
back. Don't
while
take
they
it
were
away.
running.
I'm thinking just about communication here.
Oh,
They're Ryan.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I didn't say that I was speeding.
Fax technician. Thanks for the follow. What else?
Did I boop the Ryan?
Yeah.
Come back. Don't take it away.
No ally.
Right here.
You can rally.
Yeah, I'm. They're going back. Don't take it away.
No ally.
No ally. You hear that they have no ally.
They're Ryan.
And already when you hear no ally, it seems like you know you're gonna be going for this boop, right?
Yeah.
So you should call that. I'm gonna look for a boop because you know you have a window when there's no ally, and then your team will be ready to blow a target up. But you're right. Generally, like if they rally, you probably want to kite and boop them back a little bit, unless you guys want to counter rally to keep the space. But the biggest thing is when you're going for this play, just call for it, and then everyone's just gonna be ready. You know, and in this situation, you could have called it like a second early. I'm gonna look for a boop on the right.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
ready.
Boom.
Run.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Run. Stun.
You know, maybe your brig is gonna be a little more ready to bash. You have a higher chance to blow him up or
I'm
whatever.
going for pin.
Above
Ryan
now.
is got.
No more.
No back for you.
Send this one.
There goes Trent. Stay behind me.
There's
They
Zarya.
might grab.
Zarya one.
No, booping Zarya.
Still one. Ah, she's gonna heal.
Zen Lucio on me.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Nice. Sorry, I do mate.
They used trance and rally. They have everything else.
Yeah.
Shadow right here.
They used trance and rally and have everything else. Okay.
Look where Doji's, guys.
They didn't use grab, right?
Do you guys? Is this okay?
Everything else.
They use this. They have these. Is your pre-fight ult check, and you guys have these. Considering the situation, is this a time for Doge to go for hiding shadow?
Probably not, because you can get shattered, you can get grabbed. Yeah, so we might want to look out for like a normal shatter, or we wait until I get beat and we can engage with the beat and try out force out any other ults.
So you're saying this is not one of those situations where you are desperate and there's no way to win the fight unless you hit a hiding shatter, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with that because this fight will likely drag on. Considering all the ults that are on the board, this fight will likely drag on for quite a while. You will be able to hit, assuming no one dies, you will be able to hit your ult mid-fight. Spacer, because he has high charge, very likely that if you get to use this and no one dies, that you get your ult, you get to use yours, and that's going to make sure that the fight drags on for so long that Spacer gets a new grab as well. And then you will be eventually in a position where you can lap and get sort of 2 for 1 in terms of grabs. And you said how did you say this fight is gonna go? Like what should your plan be?
We look out for normal chatter or like stun chatter or boob chatter.
Mm-hmm.
If this doesn't work, we can play for beat. If they didn't use anything, we can go for like beat in, go aggressive on their Zarya, try to force out the graph. Maybe Arena can eat it, or try to force out any other ults, and then we can like transfer Diva, transit Diva one with the graph, for
Yeah.
example.
So you've kind of covered all the options that you guys can do proactively. You can look for this. Eventually, maybe you get this and you can beat engage. Now you're only thinking proactively. But in this situation, they are coming in with a lot of ults. So what most likely, unless you guys find a stun shatter, what is the most likely scenario in terms of which ult is going to be used first? It's like that you can find this ult first, but you might not. So what is the most likely to come out? Which ult is most likely to come out first?
Their graph.
Mm-hmm. So this comes out, and then what happens?
We transit Diva one.
Yeah, exactly. And then that means they can't really pin. Even if they bomb, they don't have the follow up, and that's gonna buy time. Maybe Doge can find a shatter within all of that. Maybe you can farm this during all of that. But ultimately, you know that's most likely how the start of the fight is gonna go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shadow right here.
Look where Doge is. Look where Doge is, guys.
But if Doge is playing here and a good team pass like this and checks, maybe he just gets bashed and killed. Maybe he gets solo grabbed, and then your Zen again has to travel all the way over there to try and kill him. But most likely he can't save him anyway. Those are just gonna pin, so you're gonna have wasted a trance and you're gonna be one down, right?
Yep.
And then the fight is unwinnable. Maybe he's gonna get like you just bashed and killed. It's just like it's really not worth it because you just outlined that there are ways you win the fight if you take the fight on the point. So
Yep.
They didn't use grab, right?
No, they have grab. They have bomb.
We have transform
They have
for
grab.
their
They have grab, bomb, beat, and shatter.
I can try to block the shot.
If they bomb engage, we can transit.
Yeah, probably a B2, like 90.
No, I can't.
Lucio,
I
Lucio,
can't.
go!
So now you waste one of your major resources to try and get out.
Yep.
If he gets counterpinned or shattered here, then you have to try and save him. The same way it happened in university. He actually got counterpinned in a situation like this, and then you had to beat. So in this situation, your Zen would have to trance, or you would just lose the fight. If your Zen trances, you probably lose the fight anyway, because then they can just grab you. If he doesn't trance, then they don't even have to use anything except for maybe rally, and they lose the fight anyway. Just because of this decision.
I'm getting out.
Fortunately, their Ryan is also a bot, and he misses, and they don't stop Doge, so you get away with murder, but that doesn't make it a good play.
We can just play this corner right here. I can look.
Yeah, play corner. Play corner.
Melt their shield.
Yeah, break shield.
Ryan.
Bombing.
Spamming Ryan, shouting. Ryan.
Okay, so exactly what we said happens. They end up grabbing first. You guys trance and immediately counterbomb. Again, very good reaction. Good positioning by Reyna. He's playing in a position where he doesn't get caught in the grab. So he can hide here in case they try to bomb it. And yeah, like exactly what we said is the most likely scenario to happen happens.
Bombing.
Spamming Ryan, shouting the backline. Entire backline.
You know, bomb is out, but Reyna is fine because he had good pre-fight positioning. He can hide again.
Mm.
Because their Reinhardt has to try to block it, it opens up for Doge to find a shatter.
Yep.
Stun. Ryan.
And you guys win the fight.
Rhino charge on point.
Run.
You guys end up double supporting.
Watch out, Lucio grouping. Lucio.
Actually, no, you ulted towards the end, but it doesn't really matter.
Save it.
It's last fight.
That's fine.
And like we said, the fight drags on. By the time you guys have used both support ultimates, you already have the grab. So it was very easy for us to outline how the fight was gonna go. It was very obvious. So going for that risky play only jeopardized, and that was the only way. You either worst case scenario, you would have gotten 99 to 0 and lost control, but forced out a lot of ults. Best case scenario, it's 100-0. And
Yeah.
with the play over there, you just introduce so much variance when you really don't need to. When you have map control, when you have decent ults, when you have energy advantage, you can leverage all of these things. But you guys kind of take
Yeah,
them
you
in
never
his
know.
service. So next time you see Doge doing that, look at the ults and you make sure that he doesn't do that.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you have any questions spontaneously?
Not really. Maybe if they diva bomb, is it a good idea to let me beat in and we go aggressive? Yes, right?
If you have the beat before the fight, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like they. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's situational. It depends on the situation and the ults, but usually it can be fine. Yeah, I mean, especially if you have trans and beat, then you do want to use beat instead of trans, especially if like the fight drags on and they might be coming up on a grab. You want the trans because the beat can't really stop the grab.
Yeah.
So yeah, usually if you have the both, then it's definitely a viable play, and you can potentially, if everyone's on the same page regarding that, and you guys are playing close enough, you don't even have to kill the Reinhardt, because your team knows they're going to get the beat. They're going to be overextending really hard. They can catch the baby diva. They can catch the brig. They don't even have to go for the Rein. So yeah, it's definitely a viable play, and it's much better to have that type of a plan rather than letting the diva bomb split you, because beyond the ultimate usage and pushing into them, what having a plan like that does is it makes sure that the diva bomb doesn't split you, which is like obviously number one is with the diva bomb is to get a kill. It's a very cheap ult to get a kill with. If you don't do that, then at least split the enemy team, and this is also very, very strong. And if you can manage to split the team, then maybe you can find a kill somehow because your opponents are split, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anything else?
Not really.
No. So I think the biggest thing for you, I think we pointed out sort of the most important stuff. I think you kind of understand the importance of mid-fight calling and where you kind of lack. You do have some of it, but it's I think, like I said, I think mechanics you have clearly in-game IQ is something you can still work on, but it's not terrible. When I ask you the right questions, you usually come up with the right answers, so you sort of understand how to play the game. But you can also put it on the table for the rest of your team to see, and you can also, again, just improve as a player by because as a support player, you do want to help your team in any way, shape, or form, and that goes beyond just doing what you're supposed to do with your hero. That's what Rene is doing. Yeah. Rene is on a really good path now because he's doing the little extra things. So if he ever goes up and he's trialing for a different team and he's mechanically just as gifted as someone else, he's going to get the job because he's doing these little things. He's helping with the in-game calling. If someone doesn't call a plan, he will be there to fill that gap, and he's already showing capabilities of doing that, not just sometimes, but doing it consistently. If a plan isn't out there, he's there to step up, and that's something that you can also do. Again, in this team, you don't have to do it as much because you have players doing that. You usually go into fights with good plans, thanks to him. But something you can do that will affect both your play, your future chances to get on better teams, and also your team right now is the mid-fight calls, like the little things that we talked about. And then obviously like the small macro stuff, considering the roles, where you should dive, how you should tempo shift. Again, you didn't really make that many mechanical mistakes. You guys kind of rolled through this, guys. You only died like 2 or 3 times, and when you died, I think it was the 2 times you died, it was pretty clear why you died, and you're usually not out of position except for those couple of times. So yeah, I think that kind of summarizes the session and what I think you just need to focus on and work on.
Okay.
Thanks
for the VOD review.
Right, I hope you enjoyed the video, everyone. I hope you found it educational. If you also want to be part of the Mineral Coaches series, then you can join the Discord, which you can find in the description box down below. Post in the coaching channel, and we can potentially set something up.